All right.
All right.
There you go.
You good? All right, boys. Hold on. I know. No. No.
I'll be right back.
All right. Hey, calm down. Stop. Good boy. Sit. There we go. No, down. Phoenix, stop. You're okay. Hey, knock it off. You're okay. You're okay. Stop. Hey. That's okay. You're okay. It's a new place. I know. It's exciting. It's exciting.
All right.
All right. Phoenix, come on.
So, who's this black one here? That's Logan?
No, that's Phoenix.
Phoenix, okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, he'll calm down. He'll eventually calm down. Okay.
So, your red leash.
Yeah, here we go. Phoenix. No. Down. You're okay.
Too much energy.
Yes. This is, I mean, they walk. Oh, it's gonna. Here. Here. Yeah, come here. I know. No one's gonna hurt you. Phoenix. Phoenix, stop.
Don't talk.
Okay.
How's it with people?
He's very social. You're
okay.
choking?
No. Have a seat. So here,
he's very social with people and dogs. This is that first initial, I don't know where I am, and he doesn't.
sure,
Yeah.
it's okay. So here, he's getting too stimulated.
Yep.
That, because we're not going to be able to have a conversation and he's talking the whole time.
Yeah.
So here,
You're okay. Yeah, you're okay.
all right. So,
Sit.
hi. So, just before we get started,
Yeah.
we start recording all our training sessions, consultations, stuff like that.
Okay.
Helps just people understand that we're cooperating, such as educate people. So here, real quick, with Phoenix, and that's Logan?
Yep.
Okay. Is with Phoenix, you know, you come into a new setting like this, and he's getting really worked up.
Yep.
And the reason why I put him on this here,
Yeah.
wasn't to choke him, but it gives me the most control.
Okay.
Because he was out of control.
Yep.
Okay, now I see you have a martingale on him,
Yep.
but wasn't working to...
No, I have a prom, which I ended up leaving at home.
Okay.
So I have a prom
You
for.
saw, yeah, because I saw this guy on a
Yeah,
prom
yeah.
there.
So what had happened was I down. Sit. Good boy. Stay. And but I wanted to take off a link. I took off a link and I could not put it back together. They're just too hard for me.
Oh, sure.
So that's why but when they're on it, I finally have off loose leash walking.
Okay.
When I'm walking there.
Okay.
He is like this in the beginning. He calms down. He's usually pretty chill. It's always a new environment. That's always the deal.
Okay.
So he is less of my concern, although he's got these things that we need to fix.
Okay.
He's the one who's got more. So I rescued him 4 months ago.
Okay.
Him I've had since 8 weeks. You'll see eventually he'll chill. He's non-reactive. All of that's good. He is getting used to his environment. I don't think was socialized a lot.
Okay.
He's friendly with most dogs, but if he comes across a big dog, his initial reaction is to bark at them. And I don't know enough of him to know whether it's play bark or it's turning into more.
Yeah.
Some dogs don't react, and 2 minutes later he'll calm down and start playing. Some dogs will, and that can be dangerous for him.
Okay.
So that's one behavior that if they react back, and it's a big dog, it's an environment where he can be hurt, that's not good for him.
Okay.
That's one. The second thing with him is in the house. Now it's been only Phoenix in the house for 4 years. But in the house, he doesn't try to dominate in any way. He tends to be an alpha with a lot of dogs, but at home he's chill. He in fact avoids and ignores him. This guy tries to get in his face a lot. And so in the house, there's a little bit of that, him being trying to be territorial.
Sure.
Phoenix will ignore, he'll go to a different room, he'll go to the balcony, he'll just avoid it. But I also want that dynamics to not be confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know to the extent of which he's trying to, what that is. I would also like to understand.
Okay.
That's the next piece of it. And he has severe separation anxiety in general. So if I'm trying to say I tie him to a tree to quickly go pick up my food order, he gets very worked up to the point that he tries to bite me.
Logan.
Yeah. No, Phoenix is fine. I'll tie him there, he'll finally sit and wait.
Okay.
He will try to bite me. And that could be probably, I don't know what his history is. He was abandoned, or he was dumped twice.
Okay.
So I don't know what some of that is. But he tries to bite me in his anxiety.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's it. I would say
So,
yeah.
You order food.
Yeah.
You go to open the door. This guy's not a
Oh,
problem?
no. When I'm going to the restaurant to pick it up. So I'm tying him to a pole outside the restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah. No, at the door
Okay.
he's fine. At the door he's fine. He doesn't care. They both will be eagerly watching who it is, but they don't care.
Gotcha.
If I'm tying him to a pole outside the restaurant, so I've ordered it, I'm just going to literally pick it up.
Okay.
So I'm back in like 15 seconds.
Sure.
So I would have to tie them to a pole next to it. He's fine. He's used to it. He gets very worked up to the point he's jumping on me, he's biting me.
As he's trying to leave.
As I'm trying to tie him and leave.
Okay. And how old is Logan here?
I think 18 months is my guess. See, he's still trying to do that right now too.
Okay. And now, when you talk about biting, like right now, because I see him like trying to nibble on you, right?
Yes.
Does it get firmer than that?
A little more firmer than that.
A little more firm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Not a whole lot, but yes. But you can see that it's anxiety, and he's like getting worked up, and then that gets strong.
Okay. And what's his energy like? I know you said he's not a problem, but is he getting like right now they were both just like.
Yeah, but that's also because I left. And but now you'll see he'll slowly calm down and he'll chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're doing the whole like picking up food stuff.
Yeah, he'll chill.
He's used to it.
He's fine. Yeah, he's fine. I'll tie him, he'll sit there. This one gets worked up, jumps on me, then he tries to kind of piss him off too. Like he try to jump on him and antagonize him too. So it's all anxiety. So these are some of the areas. Yeah, let me pull up my notes.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. Because I want to make sure I'm not missing something. He will play with most dogs. Oh, when he plays with dogs, he's fine. So say I take him to the dog park, he'll play with dogs, it's fine, but he gets overexcited. Yeah. I almost want to see what he does so you can see. Yeah. Yeah. And he will play with dogs, but sometimes he gets over enthusiastic. And he has to be reeled in, so some of that energy. Plus, he will bite the dog's butt, like over here, to get them to play with it, which not a lot of dogs like.
Sure.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that I think, not checked in now can escalate.
Okay.
Or can get him into trouble. Other than that.
Would you repeat again at home? You said you weren't sure if he's trying to dominate or something?
Yeah. So that is now. I almost want to let him just try to go after him and see. Oh no, we've gone off. All right, here, come here, bud. Up. Yeah. Logan. Yeah, we're not going yet. Come. Yeah, it's okay. I'm coming. Phoenix. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. All right. It's okay. Yeah. So there's some of this. There's a little more.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then he starts to reciprocate.
Sometimes, not always, but sometimes.
Okay. Okay. Do you know how to practice your prong collar?
Sorry?
Do you know how to
Like to just do that?
do a firm clap?
Yeah. That's what I normally do, but at home he's not wearing it.
Correct.
So that's where I want to be able to like just nip it in the bud.
Sure.
When he reacts to, but he won't react to pick a fight. Like he'll just sort of like let him know.
He's
Don't
just
mess
wanting him
with
in the
me.
background.
He's just telling him, but he won't engage that way. He actually just disengages. This one will sometimes keep going. So another example is when we try to go out the front door.
Yeah.
So Phoenix, they both want to get out the front door.
Mm-hmm.
I will leash Phoenix, and he knows when we're about to go. He will go running towards him, like sort of trying to like do exactly what he was doing now, almost like get out of the way. I'm going to go out first, kind of a thing. So he gets reactive. Reactive is the wrong word, but he still tries to kind of bully him, if you will. Yeah.
They're both neutered?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Here, hold on. Starts with other dogs. Yeah, he can only bite dogs' butts. He wasn't showing a ton of resource guarding before, but now he shows a little with treats when other dogs come.
Sure.
Tugging and biting on the leash you saw. Off leash, they both are fairly good, but it's still about, for a Husky they're good, but it's about 70%.
Sure.
So I'd like that off leash to be a little more eventually.
Better recall, sure.
Yes, better recall. And the pulling was there quite a bit, but with the prong, it's
better.
Oh, so much better.
Okay.
But yeah, those are the main ones. Yeah.
Okay. So, how long have you had Logan again?
4 months.
4 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And these issues, did they start to grow, or did you see them like right away from the get-go?
I think most of these were there from the get-go. The resource guarding with the food or the treats is a new thing.
Okay.
That's the only new one. Everything had sort of been there, and I think it's just, I think a good chunk of it is not being socialized, but whatever the reason is, I'd like to have that get under control.
Okay.
And Maddie works here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so she's used to be in the South Loop, so I know her from there. So I just spent some time, I think a couple of weekends ago, or was it last weekend? I can't even remember. At the dog park, I met with her, and so she's seen them.
Sure.
And so she said she didn't think it was like she watched him play. It's just his way of. She thought that because he wasn't socialized a lot, his technique of responding is not always appropriate. Which I completely agree with, but that's where I want to sort of nip some of that.
Okay.
Yeah, in the bud.
So.
And the other piece of it is, I'd like to get comfortable with the idea of the e-collar too.
Sure, and I'll explain all that to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're familiar.
I am familiar. I'm getting someone I know has an e-collar, but I'm also interested in understanding more about the Doctra, just kind of understanding how it works, the feel. I want to make sure, because I've always been a positive reinforcement person.
Sure.
But with him, he's not getting the signal, like when I'm telling him not to do it. Like with him, he knows. If I say stop, like anything, he will stop. But he just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Some of it is play, but some of it is not. Yeah.
No, I've been watching his mouth and his play snap and his like bully snap look very similar.
Yes.
So, Maddie works here. She's my puppy trainer, puppy expert.
Right.
I trained her with Rudder.
Her dog. Yeah. Yep.
So the problem you're having here is this guy has no real boundaries.
Correct.
And because of that, like this here is like overstimulation. You gotta keep like. Do you see how this guy just laid down?
Yes.
She's got
quickly,
right?
He will.
But he just keeps pacing.
Yes, he does.
And walking around.
Right.
So this can be like anxiety or overstimulation.
Or both.
I'm picking up more so overstimulation here. Is he doesn't have an off switch.
Correct.
And that's where your problem is. A lot of your problems are coming from.
Yes.
Is because dogs, they're good at self-regulating, but when it comes to things involving the brain, it's like a kid. If you don't put boundaries to them, they'll just keep repeating that behavior and it gets worse.
Correct.
Right? So that's what I get from this guy here. And he's becoming a bit of a bully.
Correct.
So like when you go to, pick up food and
Yeah.
he's like, don't leave, that's,
Correct.
you're starting to bully
Exactly,
a little bit.
yes.
Like you can hear how he's posturing and stooping his head and stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can see the intention.
Yes.
And he's wanting to like poke him prod, right?
Yes.
So here, like this is, his demeanor now when he comes over is playful, but then it doesn't mean it can't escalate.
Correct.
Right? Because then he gets frustrated because then Phoenix doesn't want anything to do with him.
Correct.
Then he starts to become more assertive and then
Correct.
he goes, you need to back away,
Yes.
and it starts to escalate,
Correct.
right? So that's where the problem is.
And Phoenix has so far never led it to a point where he will really get back at him badly,
Mhm.
but he can hurt him. He can hurt him if he's pushed.
Sure.
So I don't want Phoenix to get pushed, but I'm,
Yes, go ahead and correct
See,
this guy.
yeah, see,
Because I can
yeah.
already see Phoenix
Yes.
is not liking it, right?
Yes, he's not.
So, when it comes to addressing this issue here, I'm gonna explain the process and then, because people, so in your case, this isn't what I would call an aggressive dog. This is just a dog with no limitations.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
Is the first thing I teach with a dog like him
Yeah.
is the heel command.
Yes.
And heel is leash walking, okay?
Yeah.
So I know you said
Yeah.
the loose leash has gotten better.
Oh, yeah, but they've not learned how to do it right.
Correct.
They're still reacting to the prompt. Doesn't mean that they've learned to not pull.
And that's a different thing, so I'll talk about that
Yeah.
as well, okay?
Yeah.
So,
Sit, sit.
when it comes to the
Stay.
leash walking, I know a lot of people talk about loose leash. Like
Right.
it's a very common thing, especially in the positive reinforcement world.
Right.
In my style of walking, heel, it's I take one step, you take one step, I take 5
Yeah.
steps, you take 5 steps. Yeah, you start to feel right here.
Yeah.
And what's partially what's
Sit.
inhibiting you is actually that black strap. And I think that you have that as like a safety.
Yes.
Is what's happening is that black strap
Yeah.
is just as short as that prong is,
Yeah.
and it's not allowing you to get more of a contraction. So there's actually not much of a correction.
Enough of a
taking place.
correction happening?
Yeah, that black strap is limiting the prong collar.
Okay.
Okay, so now with fully on the prong, when you give a correction, it should be able to go further,
Okay.
so that it actually like resonates.
Yeah.
Your corrections, and this is a technical skill.
Right,
I've been doing this for 10 years.
right.
But when he starts to come towards you, it's ideally within one correction, he's already disengaging with the behavior.
Yeah.
If you ever find yourself doing several of them,
Yeah.
it means they're most likely too soft
Okay.
or they're not being done correctly.
Okay.
Okay, so in my style of heel,
Yeah.
if I take one step, the dog takes one step.
Okay.
I take 5 steps, the dog takes 5 steps.
Okay.
When I stop, they automatically sit. I don't care what the environment is. I don't care if you're at Home Depot. I don't care if you're at a pet store. I don't care if you're at the park and there's you said South Loop Grant Park
Yep.
and dogs walking around.
Right.
I don't care if you're in the middle of the dog park. I want that level of attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's not the obedience that's helping.
Okay.
Okay, it's the e-collar, it's the discipline behind the obedience. It's the threat of consequence.
Right.
Okay, so like right now, your prong collar is a consequence.
Right.
If he does something you don't like, you're able to essentially bite him
Yeah.
like another dog would.
Right.
That's how prong collar is designed.
Right.
And the difference between the prong and the e-collar is prong is more confrontational and it takes more technical skill.
Yeah.
Like you have to like know how to give slack and then pop correctly and all those things. And like right now, as soon as I saw you correctly and I saw that strap and I saw everything going on, I knew this collar is not, the way it's set up currently is not effective.
Okay.
Right? With the e-collar, there is no real technical skill.
Sit.
Everything's at the press of a button.
Right.
Okay? So it's essentially, I call it like a bite on the button. Okay? So when you press on the e-collar,
Down.
what you get is a muscle contraction.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sit. Logan. Stay. You're okay. Yeah, and I think, even if it's not, even when he's not overstimulated, see, I don't know if it's anxiety now or what is it?
No, it's just he doesn't have any rules that he respects.
Right,
Okay? Like he's just an unruly child.
Right.
Because he's not been put in his place yet.
right.
Okay?
Right.
Because like right now, because you put him in a sit stay, right?
Yeah.
And then what do you do?
He just got up and,
Yeah,
exactly.
so that tells me that sit stay means nothing to him.
Right.
Right? And
And it's not registering, like with him, who I've trained him from the beginning, he knows, when I say sit, he will sit, if I say, he's a lot, but this guy, I'm trying the usual positive reinforcement and it's just not registering.
right, so the reason why positive reinforcement doesn't work, and because everybody's standard for a trained dog is different.
Right.
Okay? And
yeah,
the positive reinforcement method has created a very low ceiling
see,
for.
now he's gonna, yeah. See?
And is that like him going firmer on the bite? Or?
No, this was light, but it can, yes.
Okay.
If it, like, it will escalate like in the restaurant situation.
Okay.
It would, yes.
So I see you correcting him, but again, the corrections just aren't resonating. Right. And that can either be either a technical skill or because of just like, because he's a thicker coated dog.
Right.
Is that it acts as a buffer when you do a correction with the frog.
Right.
Okay? So go ahead and just hang it at the end of your blue handle here. Okay?
Phoenix, okay.
Is here.
Ooh.
You see how my corrections are firmer,
Yeah.
right? So don't get worked about the yip,
Yeah.
okay? Because that will hold you back.
Yeah.
So here, you were saying sit, stay, all this stuff, right? And I saw you posturing and like standing in front of him and stuff, but he still kept going back.
Yep.
Okay. Right now, what I've done is I've given him 3 corrections.
Yeah.
Disagreeing with every little thing I don't want him to do. Okay? So then what I'm saying is you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, and then I'm going to create this. Okay? So positive reinforcement has created a very low ceiling in what people expect their dogs to do.
Why is he yelping though? Isn't it hurting?
It's a firm correction. Okay? But you can't think hurt. If you think hurt, we get nowhere. Okay? Because this is all I have at the moment. All I have is a prong collar. Okay? So, and I'm going to talk about how all this stuff works.
Yeah.
So, let's say I was doing your corrections.
Yeah.
I already know your corrections don't work.
Mm-hmm.
You just did them.
Yep.
Now we're doing my corrections.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've corrected them so far 5 to 6 times. Okay? And what you're going to see is as I handle him more, he's going to be like this guy. Okay? Within the next 40 minutes while I have you. Okay? And I'm not giving him any commands.
Okay.
I'm not said sit, I'm not said stay, I'm not said no, I'm not said any of that stuff. What I've done is I said, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. Right? So what I'm removing are options, because that's his problem. Okay? He had, like when I said he has no boundaries, is he doesn't have anything that says that's off limits, so he becomes overwhelmed with all the options the world gives him. Okay? So here, when you get dogs bite each other, that's how they raise their puppies.
Right.
If you're at the dog park, like, or if this guy's harassing him, you've seen him be patient.
Yep.
You said he's not gone to the point where it's gotten really bad.
Which
right?
which I know can happen.
Can happen, right?
Yes.
Because that's how dogs operate.
Yeah.
So if you were at the dog park and he were doing that behavior to another dog,
right?
Like you said, a bigger dog.
If it's a dog that will respond,
yes.
yeah.
So what we're doing here is I'm addressing him like another dog would address him.
Right.
And dogs don't go by like, I don't want to hurt you.
Right.
They go by, I think you need this to learn your lesson. Okay? And then either he decides to reciprocate.
But I also don't want, and you can correct me, and this is my feeling, but I also don't want
It's okay.
hit the personality or any of that to change.
We're not changing personality.
Okay.
You're just putting rules.
Okay.
I know when people say like, oh, you're gonna break the dog. You're
Like I'm
change
gonna turn the
personality.
dog into a robot.
No.
That's what I worry about.
No.
So I seen my friend, neighbor who took their Belgian Malinois to another place.
Malinois are different.
Okay, because I took them to another place, and that dog is like, does not really socialize with other dogs anymore. I mean, he was dog aggressive, but he doesn't socialize with dogs anymore. Like he's only like responds to the collar.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about all that stuff.
Okay.
Because you're still thinking like a human.
Yes, I am. I because I've never used it. I've never felt the need but with him I do, because I don't want him to get hurt.
To trouble.
Yes.
So
get hurt.
here,
Yeah.
if anything, you're gonna see more of the personality
Okay.
and less of the other stuff.
Okay.
Because right now, you're not seeing real Logan.
Yeah.
You're seeing
The
unregulated Logan,
the
which is
unruly
frustrating.
child. Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So here, I don't know if you start to see, like he's actually starting to soften up.
Yes, he is.
Right?
I'm seeing.
Because I'm correcting him,
Yep,
going,
yep.
because Jesse doesn't play. And I'm not being mean.
Right.
I've not yelled,
Yep.
right? I've been given some good corrections.
Well, dogs like structure. They need some of that structure.
Everything
routine.
does.
Yeah.
Humans do,
Yep.
animals do.
Mm-hmm.
So here, again, no words.
Yeah.
I've just corrected what I don't want from him.
Mm-hmm.
And how he keeps getting up is
Yeah.
his brain is so
Wired to,
wired into the word to want to move.
Right.
So it's a challenge for him
Yeah, to
to
sit
not
still.
move.
Yep.
Okay, and I don't care if he sits, stands, or lays down.
Right.
I just care that he's here.
Still, yeah.
Okay,
Right.
you can even see his eyes starting to close a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, because now he's starting to register like, okay.
Yeah, he does that. Eventually he calms and then he goes to sleep, like literally he'll lie down and sleep. But it takes a bit to get there.
Yes, because he doesn't have an off
Yeah,
switch.
right.
So until the brain is completely
Yeah.
Exhausted,
Right.
it doesn't go there.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the way the e-collar works is it's a miniaturized TENS unit. Are
Okay.
you familiar with TENS therapy?
No.
Have you been to a chiropractor or physical therapist?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had the stim where they move the muscles?
No.
Have you seen that machine?
I've heard of it, but no, I've not seen it.
Have you ever seen those videos where they recreate labor contraction pains in men?
Oh, yeah.
That's the same
Yeah, yeah.
technology.
Okay.
Now obviously labor contractions are uncomfortable,
Right.
So that's why in those videos it's very painful.
Right.
E-collar is the same technology.
Okay.
It's a muscle contraction.
Okay.
You're not electrocuting your dogs.
Okay.
You're not tasing your dogs.
Okay.
It's a centralized current that moves only the muscle it's making contact with.
Okay.
So it's on the neck. The only thing the dog feels
Yeah.
is on the neck.
Okay.
Okay. Fully waterproof. The dogs can go swimming, and all that stuff. It can be raining, whatever.
Right.
It's perfectly safe to use.
Swimming too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, in my opinion, it's more refined in the human version. In the human version, there's still risk of electrocution.
Uh-huh.
If you have a pacemaker, they can't use it. There's also a risk of electrical burn if they don't set it up correctly.
Right.
We don't get that with our e-collars, okay? Or at least with the Dogs or professional brand e-collars.
Right.
You can get cheaper ones out there, and you get what you pay for.
Right.
Okay. So, and now he's been sitting like for you 5 minutes, right? Whereas when over there, he just kept
Right.
moving and wanted to bully him and
Yeah.
stuff. So, going back to how I would address a case like this is the heel fixes like 70 to 80% of problems.
Okay.
Okay. So if you were to tell me he actively bites people or something like that, that's a different approach.
No.
Okay.
No.
This is a dog who has no structure, who
Right.
has no discipline.
Correct.
So we established the discipline and structure in the healing exercise
Okay.
to help calm dogs down.
Got it.
And then I go, what did it fix?
Right.
So like the first class in this kind of case is always heal.
Yeah.
I see you week 2.
Yeah.
Let me know what changed, right? And then
Okay.
you're like, man, Jesse is great. He stopped
Right.
pestering him.
Right.
He stopped pestering dogs at the dog park. He stopped biting at me when I go to pick up food now.
Okay.
I go, great, like heal.
And all that can happen with the heel.
Potentially from the heel, okay? Potentially.
Okay.
So you're my feedback, okay? I already know how I'm gonna approach this.
Right.
I teach you the skills.
Yeah.
You practice for a week.
Got it.
Then you return and you tell me, this is where I struggle.
Okay.
This is what's going on really well,
Got
okay? So the reason why I say all those things is because all those things come from frustration.
Right.
A lack of being put in his place.
Right.
Okay? Now, when he started whimpering, when I
Yeah.
corrected him, right?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, your corrections weren't working.
Right.
Was he whimpering with your corrections?
No.
No. He whimpered with mine.
Right.
And what happened?
He stopped doing what he knew what would get him.
Corrected.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how aversives work.
Right.
Okay? So I was raised old school. I was spanked.
So was I.
Okay?
Which is why I don't like it.
Sure. So, I am perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a place for it. I will never say kids don't need corporal punishment,
Sure.
but it should be more extreme than I went through.
Sure.
So, which is
And
why,
also it just comes down to personal experience.
and which is
right?
why I have anger issues from that.
Sure.
So this is also where I'm like, I don't want to use too much negative, because I feel, will that make them reactive?
Sure, and then that's a yes or no answer.
Okay.
So when it comes to discipline,
Yeah.
discipline is healthy when it's delivered in a healthy manner.
Right.
Right? So like all the discipline that I got growing up,
Yeah.
I look back and I go, it was fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so I personally don't have any resentment towards it or any anger or anything like
Yeah.
that, right? And in my corrections here, again, my energy was neutral, but my corrections were firm.
Yeah.
But I achieved exactly what I wanted within a span of like 3 minutes and probably a total of like 10 to 12 corrections.
Right.
Okay? So that's why I was saying, the longer I have him,
Yeah.
the faster he's going to start calming down,
Right.
and the more consistent it's going to be because he's no longer under your control,
Right.
he's under my control.
Right.
Okay? So, The e-collar, what's nice about e-collar is it does remove the confrontational factor, because here, this is the pro and a con.
Yeah.
This is positive because he's learning Jesse doesn't play.
Yeah.
I need to behave myself.
Yeah.
Right? And even though I'm using this tool, it's me actively giving the correction as opposed to something where there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
Okay, so the e-collar, there's a disconnect. He doesn't know where it's coming from.
And why?
Right?
Often it may not be why, right?
Which is, and the why, which is also why we do the heel first, because that's what teaches dogs the why, if you will. Okay? So, we don't have to worry about physical strength. I don't have to worry about like how strong you can pull, and then like the technique of correcting and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just you press the button, and as long as we have good contact, if I press it at 50 and you press it at 50, it's the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So that's why I like e-collar. So there's pros and cons to any tool that you use.
Yes.
I love prong collar.
Yeah.
It is great when I need confrontation because then it's related to me.
Right.
E-collar is great when I don't need confrontation because, like, if I have a dog that's scared of me and I want to correct them for being aggressive, I don't want to correct them with prong because then they know it's for me.
Right.
E-collar, they don't know where it's coming from.
Okay.
Okay. So those are the pros and cons. So here, it would be the healing exercise. See what it fixes.
Okay.
Come back week 2, right? You give me the information, maybe everything's going great, but the whole pick up at the store thing.
Okay.
Then I go, we're gonna tweak a few things. Here's the second half of heal. I'll see you in a week, okay? And we're making tweaks to see, will this fix the separation thing?
And this is in the 1 hour that he's here with you and me, or
Correct.
just with both of us?
Both of us.
Got it.
I teach you to teach him.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Good.
So here, I rarely touch the dog unless absolutely needed.
Okay.
Everything is.
He's trying to, he tries to sort of, I think he's learned where if he flips over or he's being sweet, he can get away with
Yeah, I
stuff.
know. That's why earlier, remember when he rolled under?
Yeah.
And I was like, nope.
Same thing, I ignore it when he does that. He does it because he knows it's worked before.
Right. So here, we would tweak things each week.
Yeah, see?
And
Playing that again. Yeah.
see what it fixes. Okay, now your problems are all, in my opinion, simple problems.
Right.
Okay, it's just a dog with no boundaries.
Correct. Yes.
Okay? If everything's going as planned, the way I would picture it is 2 classes on the heel, 2 classes on the recall. Classes 5 and 6 would be more so stationary control, like go here, don't move. And then an overview, just kind of going over everything, touching up on any loose ends that maybe we didn't get. Okay. Or it's 2 classes on the heel, and maybe you're struggling with like the pickup from food thing, right? It's really just I give you the information and you start to apply it. Okay, it's that simple. And then we would cover recall, and then the 6th class would be whatever you want it to be. Okay. So because I do the way I work my programs is I see a problem, and I go, this is what I know you'll need at minimum to achieve your goal. Okay. So I have 3, 6, 9, and 12 week programs. Your issues not bad, but because you need the recall, but then also the behavior stuff. The 3 week doesn't apply to you. That's more so my dog pulls and is reactive. I get that done in a couple classes. Okay. The recall takes a couple classes, the heel takes a couple classes, and then the behavior stuff, we have a couple classes just in case we need it. Otherwise, we teach other stuff. Okay. Because I see this and I'm thinking this is going to be a pretty straightforward case. I see this stuff all the time. The 9 week program is just now you want more control. Okay. And then the 12 week program is the full off leash control where you can take your dog off leash recall, tell them to lay down, no leash, like all that stuff. Okay. Now, going back to what you said earlier about the prong, you said their walking is better, but they've not learned to not pull. Okay.
Because when I went back to Martingale, it's forgotten.
Right.
Yeah.
So dogs don't learn like humans do. So you could decide, I want to learn how to play guitar. You can go online, find a guitar teacher, buy a guitar, take a lesson, and proactively practice until you develop that skill, and you can use that skill at whim. Dogs don't do that. Okay. Dogs are reactive, and humans are both proactive and reactive. You're capable of making a decision and acting on it, and also responding to something that's just happening. Dogs are purely reactive. So like if you take them out without their prong collars, they know, hey, we don't need to not pull, right? We can be all over the place. Or we don't need to behave because mom doesn't have the means of correcting us, right? And
do they make that association? Do they make that association that, oh, the prong's not on, I can, oh, okay.
So dogs,
I didn't think they thought that hard.
It's called opportunistic behavior.
Okay.
Okay, so like the prong collar feels a certain way when they wear it.
Yeah.
So they're able to recognize when it's present, when it's not present, right?
Okay.
So it's like someone who's like under house arrest and they have an anklet, right? Like, you know, like I'm on house arrest, I can't get away, right? So, this is like the most common question I get from people is when does the e-collar go away? Like e-collar, prong collar, right, whatever, and I go, it doesn't when you need it, okay? So, you drive?
Yes.
You go on the expressway?
Yes.
Do you go speed limit?
No.
Okay. So, if you see a squad car, what happens?
Yeah, slow down.
Right, why?
Consequence.
Consequence.
Yep.
But why wouldn't you go the speed limit if you know it's wrong to speed?
Because I can.
Okay. See that I'm getting that?
Yeah.
Right? So here with the e-collar, it's like you're a cop on a collar.
Right.
Okay. When it's present, they're gonna behave themselves. When it's not present, they're gonna press those boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Now don't think you're married or tied to it,
Right.
where it's on 24/7, 365 for the rest of the days. It's like outside. It's so typical. The average client, when they take their dog for a walk, it's on.
And they come home and they take it off.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Now here, you happen to have some stuff within the home.
Yes.
But I would give you other means of correcting, so you don't become reliant on the
Because
e-collar.
that was my next question.
Yes.
Then how?
Now.
Because can he wear it? Because that's wearing it a long time. He's got to wear it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I give you other means of correcting.
Okay.
But also I'm thinking like once we get the discipline in the brain, that should ideally go away. Okay. Because if it was a bigger problem, it would be a much bigger deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I get people that come to me, they're like, my dog attacked the other dog.
Yeah, no, I'm not concerned about it at all. But there's enough that if you don't fix it early enough, with him it can get worse and escalate and get into trouble. He can get into trouble.
Correct.
I just want to nip it in the bud.
Right.
And my regular positive reinforcement was not working. I know it's not a massive fix, but if I get it now, it won't be a massive fix. Versus if I wait, it could become a massive fix.
Right.
Yeah.
This is, again, I see stuff all the time.
Yep.
So positive reinforcement is great for things you want to see again.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Put your butt down. Good. Lay down.
Right.
Good.
Right.
But then when it comes to like, let's say you're out in public and you tell him to put his butt down and to keep it down for 3 minutes while you wait for the light, that's where it falls short. Because now you have other things going on in the environment where he's like, but I want to go over here, and I want to do this, I want to do that, and I want to bully you, and I want to bully him.
Right.
Nothing is saying, don't do that.
Right.
And that's what you're lacking, okay? So a trainer once put it as, it's more important to tell a dog, or to teach a dog what not to do, than it is what to do.
Yeah.
Because honestly, people don't care about obedience. People care, they just want a good dog. The dog doesn't bark a whole lot, isn't aggressive, comes when they call him, for the most part reliably, you know, because most people just go to the dog park. That they're not thinking of like all these other things, right? And then maybe they sit, but they don't need like a fully functional, like sit and no move for the next, 20 minutes, whatever. Is dogs actually have a very low ceiling in terms of what people expect. But when you get dogs like this, then all of a sudden it's like, crap, I need more control, right? Because of the issues that you're dealing with.
Well, that's why I didn't have to deal with them with him, so I never needed it. But now with him, and I'm seeing the interplay, plus the dynamic with two dogs in the house is different from him being by himself.
Correct. So, is this all making sense?
Yep.
So, it's nothing good or bad in terms of the e-collar, like, oh, the dog has to have it, when you're outside. Because the other thing is, because I've had people who've progressed past it. And my issue is you can't account for life. I've had people they were walking the dogs off leash and someone set off for like a random firework. And the dogs ran away. Okay. You didn't plan for that. It wasn't 4th of July. Right? 4th of July, you can assume. There'll be a lot of fireworks around this week, right? But you're not expecting that in October. But that does happen.
Sure.
So the collar is present, you're not always using it. You've done the training, you've done the work. But in case something catches them off guard, or maybe you're at the dog park and a dog tries to mount him, and he didn't start it.
They both mount.
They both mount? Yeah. It's like maybe a dog tries to mount him, and then he tries to correct that dog.
Right.
You weren't planning for that, but you have a means of stopping it. Okay?
And so that's why when I get, finally the system that I'm looking for is for both of them. Is because for those situations that you mentioned, I don't need him for his daily stuff, but I need it as a backup if he's off leash.
Sure.
Mostly off leash. Everything else he won't get into a fight with the dog, none of that. But if I want him off leash and he doesn't care about fireworks, but just in case.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, let me think here. Yeah, behaviorally, I don't think this is going to be anything complicated.
Yeah.
I've been wrong before, but it's rare.
Right.
But this seems pretty straightforward, because even now, like within a few corrections of the prong, he's already settled.
Right.
Okay. So then, the reason why the heel is so important as well is because it's something that you do regularly.
Yeah.
You have to take your dogs out to go potty.
Right.
So you're practicing discipline and structure on a regular basis.
Right.
Okay, so it keeps the discipline in the head.
Yeah.
So that's where you don't end up needing it within the home, because you're doing that regularly.
Okay.
Questions so far?
A couple of them. So one, when you're talking about heel, so in the house, when he's trying to get in his face, is the heel going to help with that?
No, so, yes. Okay. So, but in that moment, you wouldn't say heel.
Okay.
So all the discipline, imagine, okay, when I say like with the e-collar, it's like when we teach the heel, we're using the e-collar to teach the heel. Right? In a disciplined fashion, which means he's being spanked.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So the spanking puts him in a different mindset. So for me growing up, if my mom said, don't do that, it was just don't do that.
Right.
Until I got spanked for the first time.
Right.
Now don't do that.
Has a different meaning.
Exactly.
Yep.
So now he gets disciplined, and then you're back in the house, and it just puts him in a different mindset because now there's threat of consequence.
Right.
Okay. So if on the expressway, if you see no squad cars, you behave and drive. There's no squad cars. As soon as you see them, threat of consequence. Going to slow down. Okay. So the heel affects the inside behavior, but in that moment you wouldn't say heel to fix the problem. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It should technically not even show up.
Okay.
It's how that's supposed to work.
Okay.
If we see, because it's not going to be an overnight thing,
right,
but we should see it over the course of the first week.
Okay.
Is maybe the first couple of days things seem kind of normal, but as you practice and practice, you start to see the behavior start to go down.
Okay.
Okay, then go good, because now the continuous practice of the discipline is now starting to seep in, and now he's starting to stop those behaviors. Okay, if we see he doesn't stop the behaviors, again, I have other methods that I would teach you so you can correct them. Okay, so like if he starts to bully him, another dog, if they wanted to stop that fight or stop that escalation, would just go and bite Logan.
Yep.
So then I'm going to teach you like a method of biting him that's not based on the e-collar or the prong collar. Okay. So then you can still stop things just in case. Okay. So it's a number of pieces to the puzzle that all work together. Okay.
Okay, because he's reached the point where, so he would sleep in the bedroom on his bed. He doesn't even get in the bedroom now because he's there.
Sure.
And so if he's around, he won't walk past him if he's around.
Yeah.
Now he's an alpha with all the dogs. So for me, I'm very surprised that he's avoiding it to this limit.
Yes.
I thought he would just put him in his place right off the bat and say, get out of here.
Right.
But he's not.
Right.
So even his behavior on that, it's just confusing me, and why he's sort of giving in a sense.
If a dog is confident, it doesn't mean they're confident over every dog. Okay.
Okay.
So like I'm very confident as a dog trainer.
Right.
I can just come in, assert control, and I know what I know. I've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
I also play guitar.
Right.
But if you put me on the stage in front of 30 people, I'm not that confident.
Yeah.
You see that? Because it's the context. So here, even though you said amongst most dogs, he's confident, but not this one, right? Is you may have gotten a personality that's a little bit more just above him, or he just doesn't want to deal with them. Right.
Because it's in his house, which was his domain all this time, which is why I'm surprised that he's actually like, I don't want to deal with it.
Right.
He's avoiding it to the point of, almost like he's a little scared, which is really surprising, because again, he's bullying him, but when he's bullying him, he doesn't seem scared. But every other time, he's almost like trying to do whatever it takes to avoid the situation.
Yeah, he's just trying to avoid conflict. Yeah. So, I mean, which people do too.
Yeah.
Right? if you see someone at the store and you don't want to talk to them, you go down another aisle.
But I want to eventually have him be comfortable enough to come back into the bedroom.
Yeah, putting him back in his place. Once you address all this nonsense, you should start to see him feel more comfortable. Okay, it's super common. I've seen it happen plenty of times. Okay. So,
sorry, one more question. The third question is, can I, as I'm walking them, while I'm training him, say the first week, is it possible to train him as well?
Yeah.
At the same time, like at both when I'm walking?
So in the beginning, you'd have to do one-on-one.
Okay.
You'd have to work with him and then work with him separately, and then you move them together. Okay.
But I walk them together. But so even if I'm walking them together, I just focus on his training.
I would leave one and do the one, okay? Because
that's a long time. Because I walk them 4 hours a day.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So the way we would do it is just you divide up the time. Okay. So like, let's say you go on a 30-minute walk, right? Or let's say you go on an hour walk. Typically, do both of them. Instead, you do 30 minutes with one, 30 minutes with the other. In the beginning. Because you have, trust me, trying to teach two dogs to heel at the same time is not going to work. Okay. If you just split up the time. Okay. 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here. You know, and you do that 4 times a day. And then you still get your 4 hours, but they only get 2 and he only gets 2, right? The heel is not just physical, it's mental. So it's more exhausting. Because now that it's not freedom. Now it's not do whatever you want. Now it's you better watch my every movement or there's consequence. So now they have to focus and they have to keep their impulses under control. Plus there's a physical part of it of the walking. Okay. So now do you walk them 4 hours because you want to walk them 4 hours, or do you do it because you think they need it?
Well, no, it tires them out.
Okay.
It tires them out. So in the morning, it's 1 hour. They sort of play with the other dogs. We don't go to the dogs park. We go to a park next door, and they meet other dogs. They walk for a mix of playtime and walk time, and then I bring them back. The afternoon. So I got laid off because of COVID, so I have a little more time in the afternoon. So I walk them for about an hour, but normally it would be half hour with the dog walker.
Okay.
Just for a break, potty break. In the evening is when they are ready to go and they're hyper. That's when it's a 2-hour walk. And that tires them out. They come home, they're chill. Especially with Huskies, they can destroy the house if they're not, worked enough. Again, because they're working dogs. So yeah, they come back, they eat dinner out on our walk. They come back, they're chill. They don't do anything.
So
something's making me laugh. How he's following me.
Yeah. So with this, you can walk them 4 hours if you want, but you don't have to. Okay. I'm not opposed to exercise, but I'm opposed to when people are doing it because they think they need to keep either their dog happy or because of what they're dealing with, right? If they need more work, backpacks. Weighted backpacks if you don't do that already. And if you combine that with the heel, even more exercise, okay, in a short period of time. The heel and the style that I teach it is like, it multiplies your walk by 2 to 3 fold. Okay, so like a 15-minute walk now becomes a 30 to 45-minute walk mentally. Okay. So like anytime we do training, people will always say like afterwards, my dog is zonked out in the car. They go inside and they just pass out.
Even when he did the group training, like positive from a group, he would come back after an hour and be out.
Just be out, because it's a lot of mental stuff. But we also have the physical component of the contraction happening, which also takes something out of them. Okay. So you're more than welcome 4 hours, but in my opinion, you don't have to.
I don't want to.
Because the other thing is, you can also just disagree with things. Right. So like me growing up, I'm from Florida, and if it was really rainy all week and I didn't get to play with my friends and stuff, like I would get antsy. Right. But it didn't mean I could just be a jerk and run around and be loud in the house. My mom would put me in my place and say like, nope, you're going to be quiet and you can play quietly in your room. Or whatever, you can play quietly on the porch, but you're not going to get loud. Okay? And then after the weather was good and all that stuff, she's like, okay, now you go play with your friends. Right? But just because I didn't have any outlet for my energy didn't excuse my behavior. So same thing for these guys. If they start to get antsy because maybe you're sick, maybe you don't want to take off for a 4-hour walk, right? Then it's just like, you don't do that. Okay.
But so when they're learning the heel, when they're learning all of it, I can see the mental stimulation. But once they know it, how does the reduction in time keep them stimulated?
Because your walks aren't going to be the same anymore. Okay, your walks are going to be loose leash walks. Remember, your walks are going to be if I take 1 step, you take 1 step. If I take 5 steps, you take 5 steps. When I stop, you automatically sit. Right? It's very mentally, they still have to pay attention. They still have to withdraw impulses, right? They can't just be doing whatever they want anymore. that will forever be there, right? So when I walk my dogs, I do 80 to 20%, right? 80 work to 20% play.
Okay.
So 45 minutes of the walk, it's tight heel.
Yeah.
10 to 15 minutes is now you can be free to do your dog even, right? So I'm doing more structure than I am doing play. People tend to do more looseness or play than they do structure, and that's where they fall short. Okay.
But how do they then get? I mean, how do they have fun? 15 minutes seems so little for me. Like they like to go smell stuff. They want to like check out the neighborhood.
That.
What?
You determine that.
Okay.
Okay. My general thumb is 8% work, 20% play.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can decide that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you want to keep in mind your dogs become what you allow them to practice.
Right.
So let's say you do 40% work to 60% play.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Now your dogs they're still going to be the same because you're doing more play than you are structure. So you want to have calm dogs, but not have to do like follow through with the work there. Does that make sense? And I'm using that as an example.
Yeah.
So I get clients who are like, I want to calm dog and stuff, but I don't want to discipline them. Like that's like saying you want to have a good kid and not want to discipline them.
Right.
It doesn't work that way, right? You have to discipline your child in order for them to grow and in order to be a good person, right? It's not doing anything appropriately. Same thing for the dogs. It's not like you do the training and then after like 6 months or whatever, you're like, I can throw everything away and we're good. No, it's a lifestyle. But in the beginning, you're doing a lot more work because you have to train and fix things. Right. But then after you're done, it's just you reinforce it and you apply it. So every time you're on a walk, if they've been good for the week and you're like, you know what, instead of giving you 15 minutes, I'm going to give you half an hour today. That's fine. But they've earned it because they were so good. Whereas people just want to give them things because they're cute and fluffy. Right. That's where problems come into play. Okay? So, and I tell everybody, look, I just come in to give you the answers. You can do what you want, but don't turn around and then put it on me if you decided to like, I have clients that they're like, oh, the dog was being reactive. And I'm like, well, were you doing the heel? They're like, no.
Right. Well,
that's not how it works. Right? I'm like, if you don't want to heal your dog, that's fine, but expect to get reactivity. You can't not have the dog under control and then expect them to behave themselves.
Right.
Okay, because these are very primitive, primal animals. They don't think to a scale like a human does. And humans put too much on dogs, or they're like, well, if the dog learned it, I shouldn't need to, you need to e-collar or need to, this stuff afterwards. I'm like, not even humans do that. Like humans know about tickets and fines and jails and prisons and judges, but people still commit crimes. These guys aren't self-aware. So when it comes to your structure, that's something you have to figure out, because let's say you don't want to do 4 hours of walking every day, right? Yeah. But then at the same time, you want to give them their playtime, and now you're doing less structure. Right. You see how now it's starting to whittle down?
Well, that's what I'm trying to think through in my mind of how am I going to do all of it. I don't want 4 hours, but I also want them to have, and I like the structure, yes, absolutely, but I also want them to just smell stuff,
Yeah, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Right? And
especially when I get back to work, they're not I'm not engaging with them all day.
Sure.
Except the morning walk. Then the evening walk, I want them to just, all right, you got your time with me, let's smell stuff, let's, that's where I'm trying to figure out what the balance is.
Right, but that's for you though. Okay? That's not for them.
Okay.
That makes you feel better.
Yeah.
The dogs don't care. If you walk them for an hour and don't let them sniff and come back, they don't think, man, you didn't let her sniff our tree.
Right.
They don't think like that. They just go, we're back, and we're gonna rest. Okay? Like my dogs, I work a lot. I work 16-hour days, and my dogs are just home. And they're fine. And when I have the time to take them out for a nice, like today, they went out for a nice hour-long walk. I take them. But that's, it's a very simple life. The dogs are very simple. It's the humans that overcomplicate things and do all these other things to make the dogs happy. Yeah. In your case, 4 hours, which I'm not opposed to. Yeah. If you told me no, I like it, it's good for me.
No, I do like long walks, but I'd like to not do it if it's raining,
Yeah.
Or if I'm sick.
Right.
I don't want it to have to be a mandatory thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
I tell people I'm fine with it. Just do it because you want to. Don't do it because you think the dogs are happy. Because dogs don't think that way.
But dogs do enjoy the whole sniffing, right? That's what they do. They see the world through their sniffing and smelling stuff, right?
But they're not aware of it. They don't get a chance to do it. So if you don't take them, for instance, let's say you just take them outside the potty real quick and back inside for a week because you're sick. Yeah. They don't sit there sulking that they don't get to go sniff or anything like that. They don't think that way. Does that make sense? They do enjoy, yes, sniffing and playing on stuff, yes, they enjoy it, but they don't think about it. The dogs, they're thinking about right now. They're not thinking about tomorrow. They're not thinking about earlier today. They're not thinking about the walk they're going to go on later on or anything like that. They're just in the now. Okay? It's the humans that are just thinking like, you know, or they feel bad or whatever, they feel guilty because the dog didn't get an outlet. Dogs need discipline. Okay? So we're already in our time here. So for you, I think 6 classes is going to be what I recommend. If you're trying to train 2 dogs, what I recommend is that you extend the first 2 classes by half an hour. Okay, it gives us 45 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay, otherwise if you do just the hour, I would focus on him primarily. And then you would work with him on your own. And then if you have any issues, you can always use another class to work with him. But if I'm working with one dog, one class, and another dog, another class, we're not going to cover as much in the 6 classes, right? So, and it's just the first 2. And it's $35 to extend by half an hour. Okay. So it's 45 minutes, 45 minutes. And that's plenty. Second class, 45 minutes, 45 minutes. After that, we're fine to just continue with an hour. Okay. The caller you would need is the Dacia 2300-02. And Maria will send you this info. Okay. 3/4 mile range. It's meant for dogs their size, 70 pounds and under. Fully waterproof, both your transmitter and the receiver. They can go swimming in it. Okay. You can get them on Amazon. Maria will send you a link to get them on Amazon.
I looked, because I've been on your website, and a lot of them on Amazon are not available.
Oh, they might have changed the links. If you look up the model, they should be there. Because over the years, like I try to keep the links updated. But like maybe one seller sold out their product, they stopped carrying it, but then another seller has it. Okay. But you can get them one way or another. But they in the last, I don't know, like 8 years I've been using Amazon. Happy to buy them.
Still there.
They're always there.
And 3/4 of a mile is enough, or do I need like a mile?
No. I mean, 3/4 of a mile is
long.
way more range than you need. Also in the city of Chicago, because of buildings and stuff, you're not going to get a full 3/4 mile. Okay. And then lastly, because of COVID, everything's verbal instruction now. I coach you through it. I'm there with you.
But you're
I'm
physically
present.
present.
I'm present with you, okay? And we can either meet here or at Oz Park, although it is getting colder, so you want to think they're going to be there for a period of time outside, right? So we can either meet here.
Can we pick and choose depending on the week? Like depending on the weather?
It depends, because Maria, she alters my schedule according to where I'm going to be, right? So like today I had you right after my last client because I'm at the facility. But then my next ones are at Oz Park, but they were grouped together. Okay? So then, it's all verbal instruction. I coach you through it. We also film the session, so if you forget anything, you'll just go back to your video, watch your own session, refer to that. Or if you're struggling with something, and I have another client that had a similar issue, I can send you that video, and then you can use it as a reference. Okay? If you have any questions?
I'm just making sure I asked the ones I needed to. Is there a way to get to just feel e-collar?
Sure. So, because I have to head out, because I have to go outside. Let me go see. What do you grab? Phoenix here.
Phoenix, come here, Mom.
I'm gonna have one of my handlers come in because I have to start heading out. And they're gonna help you with feeling the collar and stuff. Okay. And then Maria.